الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر لله الحمد الله أكبر كبيرا والحمد لله كثيرا سبحان الله العظيم وبحمده فإن بكرة وأصيلا الفرد الصلاة والسلام عليك من أرسله الله تعالى رحمة للعالمين صلى الله عليك يا سيدنا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك أجمعين وعلى خلفائك الراشدين وعلى الأنبياء الصالحين وصدق محمد وصحابة عامة أجمعين مدد يا شيخ عبد الله شنازل الحق أبدون المدد ربنا من عندك عز وجل محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Today is Monday. Everyone knows Monday, but no one realizes what is the meaning of this day to the divine presence of Allah Almighty. Because Allah showed this day to be the birthday of Prophet Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His birthday was on Monday. Allah showed in this day that the divine blessing and lights of Allah Almighty to be descending over the birthday of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As Allah said in the Holy Quran, وَالنُّورَ الَّذِي أُنزِلَ مَعَهُ. The light which descended was with Rasulullah, and his birthday was a Monday. And for this is a very high level day in between all the days of the week, which Allah Almighty chose it to be the birthday of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and to descend the light, godly light, on his holy body of Rasulullah, physical body, also the light of his reality and spirituality, and special godly lights also, as generosity from Allah Almighty descended on this day, Monday, over the birthday of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And for this, Rasulullah all his life used to fast Monday, celebrating his Mawlid al-Sharif, his birthday. He used to fast Monday. When they asked him, the Sahaba, he say, I am fasting Monday as a celebration for my birthday, because Allah Almighty make my birthday to be Monday, and descending with it also over me special godly lights which never given to any other of the creation than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Allah ordering everyone to believe, to have faith in Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the light descended on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his birthday, and also the light which then was given to Rasulullah when the revelation, the Holy Quran, was also descending on Rasulullah when he was in the 40 years of age. And for this is a very holy day, and we are meeting why we are meeting today? We are meeting on the teaching of awliyaullah, on love of Allah Almighty, love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, love of awliyaullah, and especially our branches in Naqshbandi way, and love of Sahaba and Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Uthman, Sayyidina Ali radhiyallahu alayhim ajma'in, and all Sahaba and Ahlul Bayt al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And nowadays, the most important and highest in between the creation is the spirituality of Sayyidina Ali alayhi salam. So the one who is well, good, friendly with him, loving him, respecting him, he will be so high upgraded in the presence of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, in the presence of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and in the divine presence of Allah Almighty. And Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu anhu, Allah making his spirituality, his reality to be in between the ummah, the nation, because Allah giving him to serve the nation of Rasulullah even after passing away of him, to Allah re-survive him by malakuti life, by the special spirituality life given from Allah Almighty to his spirituality, to be acting and serving the nation of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah. No one of all awliya nowadays present, 124,000 awliya, even Naqshbandi awliya or 40 ways awliya, no one able to serve nowadays the nation and carry from them their sins and badness and their burdens, and even carrying from the awliya or whatever burdens on them, except Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu wa karramallahu wajhah. He is the one who is involved now with the nation, with the ummah of Rasulullah, with all children of Adam alayhi salam, to be representing Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu in between the ummah of Rasulullah today of Yawm al-Qiyamah. Even in time Sayyidina al-Mahdi alayhi salam, even in time Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, even in time of Ya'juj wa Ma'juj, until the blowing of the horn from Allah Almighty by giving the order to Sayyidina the Malaika Israfil alayhi salam to blow the horn, then he will be then serving after the second blowing of the horn of Sayyidina Israfil alayhi salam. And now all awliya, all of them, 124,000 awliya, and all the awliyaullah, all whatever their ranks, even the most high type of awliya, whom they are reaching to the wahdaniyah of Allah Almighty, to maqam al-fardaniyin, is the maqam which is twin to the maqam of seed of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and is given only to one awliya in between the 124,000, or anyone who will be upgraded by Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to reach this maqam, and now difficult even to awliya to reach that maqam, because it is offered, granted by Allah Almighty to the one whom Allah chooses. And even though not able to carry the sins and the burdens and the bala which is descending over the awliya first, whom they are carrying it from the nation, the ummah of Rasulullah and children of Adam alayhi salam, only the one who is able and dressed to carry this, and he had the ocean of this, Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu wa karramallahu wajhah. And so the one who is loving Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu and well connecting himself with Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu karramallahu wajhah, Allah Almighty will be loving him, Rasulullah will be loving him, Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq will be loving him, and all grandsheikhs, all awliyaullah, all they will be loving him. And nowadays, all the power of all awliya is under the power of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu wa karramallahu wajhah. He is the one representing all awliya, he is the guiding of all, guidance of all awliya, and all the mu'mins and all the nation of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the divine presence of Allah Almighty and Rasulullah. Without his interference, no one nowadays, till the appearance of Sayyidina al-Mahdi alayhi salam, and even in time of Sayyidina al-Mahdi alayhi salam, until the appearance of the reality of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, reality of Ghanshay, reality of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and Sultanul Awliya and all awliyaullah, then he is the one to be guiding all the nation and all the awliya whom they are now a day dressed by all means of godly power and power from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All their power is nothing in front of what Sayyidina Ali dressed, and he is serving them to the awliya and serving all the nation of Rasulullah. And the one who connecting himself with Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, and he is the one always keeping to be closer and closer to him, approaching to him by Rawitatul Sharif, by one connection is out with him, he will be quickly accepted by Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, all Sahaba, all Ahlul Bayt, and all grand sheikhs, and by Sayyid of Awliya and Mawlana Sultan al-Awliya Shaykh Nazim, and all whom they are activating Awliya, representing 124,000 prophets nowadays. All of them, they are in need to the help and the guidance of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu. And all the nation of Rasulullah, the Ummah of Rasulullah, all of them, they are under the training and behaving, and the one training their souls and their spiritualities and their breathing, which going out and coming, inhaling or exhaling, all they are under the training of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, karramallahu wajhah. He is the only awliya nowadays who has given power from Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which was not given to any of the awliya whom they are existing in till the appearance of Sayyidina al-Mahdi alayhi salam. Because we are in the last 50 or 51 years of the age of the Ummah nation of Rasulullah and all children of Adam alayhi salam. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when the kuffar of Quraysh, they asked him, you say Allah want to descend azab on us, punishment, to revenge, to harm, we want to have died to have this. And Allah Almighty telling him, wait, my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when this punishment is going to be descending on them, and all the sinners and all the mu'mins and Muslims also, whom they miss the way of Allah Almighty and Rasulullah, only they are Muslims, mu'min by name, not they are real Muslims and mu'mins, and nowadays don't think anyone is a real Muslim and mu'min, even ulama, even murids, even all whom they are following awliyaullah, no one yet dressed to smell the taste of Islam or Iman. And if any one of us was in time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam between the Sahaba, they don't the hypocrite in between the Sahaba is like an awliya nowadays for this between us. So even we are worse than the hypocrite whom they were in the time of Rasulullah, and Rasulullah saying that the hypocrite, they are going to be rewarded by the lowest valleys of Jahannam. The hypocrite of the time of Rasulullah, if they appear now, in between us they will be big awliya. And we are so worse than the hypocrite of the Sahaba of whom they were in the time of Rasulullah. At least these hypocrites, they saw by their eyes the light of Rasulullah, they saw the face of Rasulullah. We are not seeing anything, and even we are not caring for love of Rasulullah, or for surviving the Sunnah of Rasulullah, or for teaching of Rasulullah, and we are not caring for anything of this, only we are caring how to make our animal life, this physical body, to be prosperous and to be well living, and no one is trying his best to make his spiritual body and his spiritual life to be well enriched with the divinely godly blessing and good tidings and Iman and Islam, and to be blessed from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the Sahaba they are blessed. But this is not something you are responsible for it, because Allah saying, Allah Almighty say, good or bad, I created it. Khayrihi wa sharrih, the qadar, the fate, bad or good is created by Allah Almighty. So Allah Almighty programmed this nation, the end of it nowadays before the appearance of Sahib al-Zaman, to be like this, not in our hand, not in our hand of anyone. Even when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was descending from Mi'raj, and Allah showing him what his nation is going to do after him, especially this nowadays nation before Sayyidina al-Mahdi alayhi salam, Rasulullah was totally, his face changed and his mood totally changed. He was so depressed, so ashamed from Allah Almighty, so shyful. Oh Allah Almighty, what I did for you to give me such an ummah, so bad, so sinners, so very worst one, more than shaitan, they are much more worse. And even though they think themselves they are big awliya, big ulama, knows everything, and really shaitan know better than that. And for this, now Allah Almighty is showing him the reality of the Imam of the Naqshbandi way, the atom, the soul of Sayyidina Shah al-Naqshband. When appealed to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was calmed down. And then when he was seeing how Allah Almighty is supporting this ummah, even all this badness of them, by the spirituality of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu and his reality, then he was again in his mood, well, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but always asking to be blessed by Shafa'atul Uzma for this nowadays, especially ummah. And Allah Almighty telling them, I am going to give them an age. Every ummah, every nation I gave it age, and also your nation is going to have an age, my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if they are in the right way, in always the wrong, the right path, Siratul Mustaqim, they are doing well, only goodness coming from them, and quickly repenting to Allah Almighty and keeping the Sunnah of Rasulullah, love of Rasulullah, love of Awliyaullah, love of Ahlul Bayt al-Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, love of Sahaba, love of Allah Almighty and Rasulullah, I will give them one day of age. And if they missed the way, and they were following shaitan, and no more caring for Allah Almighty and Rasulullah, and ignoring the Holy Quran, ignoring the Sunnah of Rasulullah, and no one even is doing by anything with the Sahaba or the Awliya or the before us, the religious people and pious one doing, they will be in the wrong way, following only, obeying the shaitan and teaching of shaitan, and every one of them, even in their prayer, they are going to be totally headless from me, and instead to be a prayer, it will be a big sin for them and something big mistake for them, because they are totally headless in their prayers from the presence, the presence of Allah Almighty. And that I will give them a half day. And so I am giving your nation to be living 1.5 day. Already I program it. Their life is 1 day, complete day, and a half day. This is the age of your nation. All the prophets before Rasulullah, Allah gives them age. وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ أَجَلٍ. Allah saying in the Holy Quran, for every nation there is an ajal, there is a limited time, and when the time will come, at the end of it, Allah will punish the non-believers and bless the believers. And like this, your ummah also, your nation, my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has an age. And this age I am giving to your nation, which I didn't give it to any of the other prophets, is 1.5 day. And 1 day to me, my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is equal to 1,000 years of what your calculation of your time of the earth, this globe, this planet. 1 day to Allah Almighty, وَإِنَّ يَوْمًا عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ أَلْفِ سَنَةٍ مَا تَعُدُّونَ, equal to 1,000 years of what you count. And like this, Allah showing in the Holy Quran that He is going 1.5 day as an age for the Ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is mean 1,500 years. And now we are now from the prophecy of Rasulullah when he was 40 years of age till now, we are finishing 1,449 years. There is remaining 51 years of the age of this nation of Rasulullah, according to the Holy Quran and the Hadith of Rasulullah. And then will appear the signs of Akhirah, of Yawm al-Qiyamah, of Day of Judgment, which Allah promised in the Holy Quran and in the Hadith of Rasulullah. And for this one, the Sahaba, when Rasulullah, he told them, بُعُثْتُ أَنَا وَالسَّاعَةِ كَهَاتَيْنِ, Allah sent me and the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, like this, so close to each other. They told him, Ya Rasul, all Sahaba were expecting Rasulullah never is going to pass away to die before the day of Judge of Yawm al-Qiyamah. And so they told him, then after this hadith was telling them the age of his ummah, 1,500 years, is going to be in your time, Ya Rasulullah. Allah going to give you an age like Sayyidina Nuh alayhi salam, 1,500 years to be with your nation. He said, no. My age, it was supposed written to me in the divine presence to Allah Almighty, 137 years of age. I told Allah Almighty only to give me 63 years of age, but according to our sun calendar, it is 61 years only. And the rest, I asked Allah Almighty in pre-eternal, when I was already programmed by Allah Almighty to be the will of Allah Almighty, that all my nation, Ummatun of Rasulullah, Ummatul Muhammad, to share my age, to share my life, to share my breathing. And so from 63 years of age, or 61 according to sun calendar, till 137 years of age, I asked Allah Almighty to make this difference of time around another 70 years. 70 years of age of Rasulullah to be spreaded in between everyone of his nation, that no one of the nation of Rasulullah will die except have even a second, or 2 seconds, or 3 seconds, or 1 minute, or according what Allah Almighty like to give everyone from the life of Rasulullah and from the breathing of Rasulullah. Because one breathing of Rasulullah, one breath from Rasulullah, if you, all the breathing of all the prophets, all malaika, all children of Adam, all saints, all awliya, whatever, they are so close to Allah Almighty, and the Sahaba and Siddiq and Sayyidina Ali and all the realities, all of it in one hand, in the balance of Allah Almighty, and one breath from Rasulullah, one breath of Rasulullah in the other hand, one of Rasulullah will be much more valuable and much more heavier to Allah Almighty and well appreciated than all these breathing of all his closer awliya and prophets and saints and Sahaba and Siddiq and Sayyidina. Like this, Allah Almighty giving Rasulullah even to share his life with his nation. And for this always Rasulullah never looking at himself or his family, but he always just born saying, Ummati, Ummati, my nation, my nation. When he passing away, Ya Jibreel, what's going to happen to my nation? Ummati, Ummati, who is going to look after them? And when he will be survive in day of judgment, the first thing to ask, oh Ya Jibreel, what Allah did with my Ummati, my Ummati, Ummati. Allah sent Sayyidina Jibreel, tell him, no one yet created except us seven to wake you up and to invite you to divine the presence of Allah Almighty, just reaching in between the hands of Allah Almighty and making sujood in between the hands of Allah Almighty to Allah Almighty, after Allah telling him, raise your head, my beloved Muhammad, and he will, the first thing to say, Ummati, Ummati, Ya Rab. He said, not yet anyone. We survived. I give this order to you to be given to you from me. You will order this Malaik, the angel Israfil, to blow the horn. And like this, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even his age, he didn't complete it to share his nation, his ummah with his age. And even though no one is respecting Rasulullah, especially this ummah, whom they are in the wrong way now, and only they have 500 years, and already from this 400 years, 449 years passed, only in front of us around 50 or 51 years. And so Rasulullah say, Allah sent me with day of judgment so close, and he's making his two fingers like this, so close, and as if now is going, and all the Sahaba waiting in the time of Rasulullah, the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah. He told them then, no, it's not going to be in my life, the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, because after me is going to come Khalifs, before Khalif, and he addressed them by name, Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Osman, Sayyidina Ali. Then after the fourth Khalif, in the time of fourth Khalif, the Yawm al-Qiyamah, Ya Rasulullah, the Sahaba was asking, no, after Khalif they are going to be Umara, prince whom they will rule, and after the Khalif or Khalif comes the prince of Bani Umayyah and the princes of Sayyidina of Bani al-Abbas, the uncle of Rasulullah, who married to Sayyidina al-Abbas, and then the prince of Fatimiyin and the prince of Mamalik, until Allah said, Ya Rasulullah, it will be very dangerous time, as you are saying, too much fitna, it will be in their time. He said, no, still they are in the golden age of Islam, and they are opening and spreading Islam. Is day of Yawm al-Qiyamah in their time? No. After them is going to be kings ruling. And then Allah Almighty finishing the time of the princes, the time of prince which Allah give it to the nation of Rasulullah by appearing the Ottoman Khalif, the king of Ottomans, who was opening and taking over from all the prince and all whom they were ruling the Khilafah of Muslims, and he was taking over by the order of Rasulullah, and he was the Khalif and the king for all the Muslims. And they were so pious and religious one that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam give good tidings that the lowest one of these kings of Ottoman, whom they are going to be ruling, Allah will give them so long time to rule, because every one of them, the lowest one, not less than 7 ranks in maqam of as an awliya to Allah Almighty. And all these stories with the people now, especially the Western, the non-Muslim, attacking the Ottoman Khilafah, saying they were not good, like this, like that, all liars, they were all big awliya, and no one doing anything or ruling except by the Shaykh of Islam, by the Grand Shaykh of the Naqshbandi line, or by 40 Ways Imam. They used to be the advisor and the minister whom they will tell the Khalif from Rasulullah what to rule and to do. And Allah gave them 700 years plus to be ruling. And then they asked Rasulullah, is in the time of the kings, it will be the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah? He said, no, also not in their time. Even long time they are going to rule, but it's not going to be in their time. And so they make on the main door of the Dar al-Khilafah, the Isitana in Istanbul now, it was called Islambul, yani full with Islam, also strict Muslims, all at that time, all the emperor of Islam from east to west, north to south, and they opened every country until most of Europe were changed to Islam. Spain were changed to Islam, Kosovo and all these countries changed to Islam, China changed to Islam. everything. They didn't left any place except entering Islam into it, and Allah gave them 700 plus years to rule, and then they were making the names of the Ottoman in big round tablets on the door whom they ruled, starting by the first Khalif of the Ottoman Khilafah, the king, then following the first tablet, the second tablet. At the end of the second tablet was the last name written, Sultan Abdul Hamid. Then he was crying. He said, finish the time of Khilafah by me, no more is going to be Ottoman or kings ruling. Then they opened the third one, but only it was small inheritance, not reaching to the First World War, which Rasulullah said then after the kings, because not going to appear a day of judgment in the time of kings, was not yet 1,500 years of age, my nation, and my nation age is 1,500 years. Allah will send tyrants and splitting all the earth into countries, cities, villages, towns. Everyone tyrant has his own country to rule, and the power will eat the weak and fight him, and like this they will be living very worst time, that the tyrants cursing their peoples and the Muslims especially in their countries, and the people and the citizenship and the Muslim cursing their rulers in the time of the tyrant. It's going to be but Allah Almighty will not give so long time to them, not even 1 century or 1 century, little bit more, plus, not more, then it will be finished, the 1,500 years of the age of my nation. Then Allah will send my grandson at that time. I have a grandson at that time who was born in Wadi Fatima. It is nearby Mecca by 5 kilometers, and all Ahlul Bayt there. He was born since several years ago, and he born there, not like the Shia, they said disappeared, the 12th Imam after Sayyidina Ali. There is 12 big Imam, descendant of Sayyidina Ali from Sayyidina Hassan and Sayyidina Hussein, and the last one of them was called Muhammad al-Askari, and he disappeared when in the time of the prince of Bani Umayyah following to finish him. He jumped with his horse in a lake and he was disappeared. He was totally finished. Allah re-surviving him as a shaheed. But they are waiting for him. Not he is the one. The one really, he was born several years ago, and he will be appearing after the finishing of the age of the Ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah said, and after the tyrants, so little time Allah will give for the tyrants, not even 100 years or 110 years. Small, not big, very huge time, a century or less than a century or a little bit less than a century. Then my grandson at that time, Muhammad, his name is Muhammad, Ahli Bayt al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ali Rasulillah, and this known as Sahib al-Zaman, Sayyidina al-Mahdi, and he is now under the training of Sayyidina Ali radiyallahu an, and sealed of awliya and Grand Shaykh, under the training of them, completing him, then sealed of awliya will present him to Rasulullah, and Rasulullah will open on his heart the secret of the Holy Quran, and he will be then also as all the Muslims whom not only Muslim, all whom they are going to remain at that time after the Third World War, which is going to be in front of us in these years coming in front of us, which Rasulullah mentioned as a big Armageddon, big slaughtering is going to happen, and Allah mentioning it in the Holy Quran also, there is an ayat for it, now I will say it. And like this, he will appear, my grandson, ثم يخرج ولد من أهل بيتي, then one of my holy family, he will be appearing at that time. Allah will send him, and I will send him to fill the earth with justice and Islam and reality of Islam, reality of Iman, and reality of every goodness, that he will be dressing well this earth to be again only raising up La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And then in his time will be sent Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam to continue 40 years after him, until Allah will send a special wind from Jannah. All Sayyidina Isa and mu'mins breathing this air, they will die, they pass away, and then Malaika will come and hold them and bury them. Sayyidina Isa will be buried under the feet of Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anh, beside him. And for this Rasulullah was telling Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Sayyidina Umar, good tidings in his life. How about you, my Siddiq? And Sayyidina Umar, how about you? You are going to be Yawm al-Qiyamah. Allah will survive you and crowd you to himself, to his divine presence, in between two prophets, Sayyidina Rasulullah, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. And then Allah will open the wall which is blocking Ya'juj, Ma'juj to come. They will come to this earth and finishing everything, and by the end of their life, by the end of their time, when finishing everything, they, Allah Almighty, will order a huge beast, huge as the earth, to be appearing and telling them that you are all kafir, all non-believers, no one of you is a mu'min, and then the one who will kill this beast, only Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, although the spirituality of Sayyidina Ali at that time also will serve the children of Adam alayhi salam by finishing this beast, otherwise it will swallow all the earth, this beast, and all whom living, even Ya'juj Ma'juj, they are children of Adam alayhi salam. And so he will have a very huge spear from fire. He will fly 100 meters, and then he will press it between her neck and her heart, and like this, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he will be finishing this beast, and she will die. And then after this beast will die, and telling all of them, you are a kafir, Allah will order the sun no more to rise from the east, and it will rise the first day, second day, third day from the west, where sunset, it will come for several hours, and then coming down, not ordered to be continue its circulation. And these 3 days Allah will close the door of Tawbah. Even when they saw Ya'juj, Ma'juj and living at that time, this miracle, they will announce their repent and Islam and Tawbah, but Allah refused and finished. He said the door is closed. No one is accepted, and then Allah will order Sayyidina Malaik, the angel Israfil, to blow, Malaika Israfil to blow the horn, and like this Allah will finish all this. And Allah saying in the Holy Quran, قُلْ هُوَ الْقَادِرُ أَسْتَعِيذُ بِاللَّهِ in Surah Al-An'am 62 or 63, 63, the ayah, Allah telling Rasulullah about his nation, what is going to happen to them, how they are going to be punished. The nation of Rasulullah, also your nation is going to be punished, my beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But for your sake, I am going to be punishing them at the end of their age, but without my angerness, so that they will not be going as a kafir and with the angerness of Allah Almighty. And he told them, the punishment I can, if I want, I am Allah Almighty, I am the Creator. I will send from heavens, from other planets around the earth, stones or fire or anything from heavens to finish them, or hurricanes, or wind. قل هو القادر على أن يبعث عليكم عذابا من فوقكم. I will send from over their heads punishment, but it will be from heaven with the angerness of Allah Almighty, and they will be no more to have any forgiveness or shafa'ah from Rasulullah. They will be for hell forever. قل هو القادر على أن يبعث عليكم عذابا من فوقكم أو من تحت أرجلكم. Or I will send punishment from under their feet by earthquakes, by flood, by making the earth to open and swallow them, and also this with the angerness of Allah Almighty, and forever they will be in hell, even you want to make shafa'ah for them. And Rasulullah, for the first one, he say, أستعيذ بوجهك الكريم. أستعيذ بوجهك, I am sheltering myself and my ummah to your holy face, Ya Allah, don't send with your anger and this punishment over their head. And the second, when he say, from under the, oh Allah Almighty, also I am sheltering myself and my nation at that time to your holy face, don't send with your angerness. I don't want to be angerness, godly angerness over them, so that he will be allowed to make shafa'ah for them. With the angerness of Allah Almighty, then no shafa'ah for anyone. Even Rasulullah want to make shafa'ah, Allah will not accept. Then Allah Almighty, for the sake of His beloved Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not punishing this ummah like the other nations, even they are now doing their best they are doing now. The nation, last nation, all kind of sins which all past nation never doing. Even one of these sins, one nation doing, Allah used to finish it. Now they are doing all the sins of all past nation, and over it, that they are so well teacher for shaitan, with teaching him, which never he knows or was in his knowledge, how to be making them to disobey Allah Almighty. They are teaching him now a day how to disobey Allah Almighty, and all they are disobeying Allah Almighty. And then Allah say, for the sake of Rasulullah, continuing the ayah, Allah Almighty, and saying, أَوْ يُلْبِسَكُمْ شِيَعًا أَوْ يُلْبِسَكُمْ شِيَعًا وَيُذِيقَ بَعْضَكُمْ بَأْسَ بَعْضٍ. Or Allah Almighty will make you countries, split the earth into countries, and everyone totally, this country different from the other country, and every country will be enemy to the other country, and all of them, they will be fighting each other. Then no more with my angerness, they will fight each other by themselves. And at that time, I will give them knowledge to create weapons, to make all kind of weapons, atomic bombs, all kind of, Rasulullah called it yellow wind, atomic wind. They will do their best so that to finish humanity from the earth, I will give them this knowledge also, and you will see at that time quickly their knowledge so high, knowledge about all from me, so that to finish each other without my interfering or my angerness on them. And like this now we see that already in the time and the century of the tyrants, after the kings of Ottoman, after the Khilafah, all the Maulana say, all Allah Almighty splitting all the earth into countries, no more continent, but also in every continent it was totally divided to countries, and in every country also splitted cities. And like this, everyone ruling and everyone enemy to the other, and the strong is fighting the weak. The one who have more power will be fighting the weak, so that to make him under his command, until Allah Almighty saying, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, then explaining that time in the hadith, this ayah was explaining it, Rasulullah, that Allah Almighty is going to make at that time, لا تقوم الساعة حتى تقتتل فئتان عظيمتان تكون بينهما ملحمة كبرى دعواهما واحد. At that time, when they will be Allah splitting them, and will be the time of tyrants, by the end of the time of tyrants, all whom they are splitted, all these countries, even the strong of them or the weak of them, they will be under two big powers, two big countries whom they have the powerful and all means of power to control all whom they be in their following them as alliance to them. And so Allah Almighty, as you see now, making all the countries splitted, weak or strong, either under East or under West, either under the American power or under the Russian power. And for this now already everything is prepared, and Rasulullah, he said, is going to be between these two big powers and all these countries following them, a big Armageddon, a big slaughtering. He called it slaughtering because they shed the blood of each other, they finish humanity as if the blood will be like falls and rivers going in between them by finishing each other and finishing all the nation of Rasulullah. Only will remain from the nation of Rasulullah, believer or non-believer, is going to remain, whom they are protected by Allah Almighty. But even though Rasulullah, he said, they will not be in complete shape, everyone from the atomic wind, which she described it as yellow wind, is going to come to take all mankind. They will be in lack. Some they don't have a arm or hand, some they don't have legs or hips, some they will be, some of their parts finished from them whom they remain. And then when Sayyidina al-Mahdi appear, by the power of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, massaging their body, and everything will be again very well dressed by Allah Almighty as used to be in the before this war to appear. And this time, and that's Allah Almighty telling, oh Allah Almighty, don't make it a long time, and Allah promising it will be only 90 days. This Armageddon, this big third world war slaughtering, because in these 3 months they are going to use all kind of these weapons which they invent, which they atomic bombs, all these kind of the but related even more powerful, they have bombed than the atomic bombs, which is going to finish all humanity from this globe. Even this earth will be exploding until Sayyidina Mahdi will appear by the 90 days to stop the earth from to be splitting and exploding. It will be by itself an atomic bomb. Then he will stop it, taking the secret of all these weapons and making all this no more to be activating, and only to be everything calm down. And then Allah will send malaika and mu'min jinn to clear all these ruined earths and all these crops of the dead ones, and whom remain alive but not complete, by Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Sahibul Zaman, Sayyidina al-Mahdi will cure them. And like this now we are at the end, and we are reaching to the last stages now. In front of us only 50 years of the age of this nation, of the age of the Ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this 50 years is according to the calendar moon, but to the sun moon will be less, perhaps by 10 years, around 40 years are in front of us, or 42 years, according how the calculation. And like this everything will be finished. But the problem now that to protect yourself, not to have a bad end, how to protect yourself, to be dressed by forgiveness and mercy from Allah Almighty. When Shaykh and Maulana teaching us always to renew our Islam, to renew our Iman in every minute, in every second, in every hour, by saying Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, and always to repent, to say Astaghfirullah, 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 even every breath of you to be in Astaghfirullah. One big awliya called Rabi'at al-Adawi, she was a woman, but she was the Ghaus, football Ghaus in her time. And she was telling the awliya teaching. She was the one teaching. She was the one, the ocean of all awliya at that time. And she was telling them Our breath, when we say astaghfirullah, you need to say for it astaghfirullah. Because we are saying astaghfirullah, but by what? Including our egos and satanic self in us, and whatever there is enmity, hatred, bad behaviors, and bad adab with Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we say astaghfirullah. So this astaghfirullah need also to say for it astaghfirullah. So if forever you say till you meet Allah Almighty to say astaghfirullah, yet you are not fulfilling to be dressed by forgiveness and mercies until Rasulullah will be appearing at the last moment and make shafa'ah for you. And now how the people, they dare to say and claim we are awliya, we are so high maqam, so high ranks, we have things, we see something which cannot be seen, but we see the unseen. Everyone, or we can heal spiritually, and we can do this or do that, all this, all it is from the house of shaitan in their mind, and there is another house of shaitan in their heart, and it is called khazinatul khayal, the safe of phantom or imagination, which make the one shaitan from that house of him will show your eyes and your heart and all your feeling that you are something important and you are saying something, but it is really mirage, not existing, only imagination. And there you will find Allah Almighty, as is saying in the Holy Quran, taking your soul by the angel of death. If you were in Summa Amanu, you are in goodness, Allah will take you to be in the maqams of all the saints and awliya and prophets. And if you are in mistake and sins and badness, Allah will take you and make you in the hells of shaitan and devils and evils and shayateen. So the one of us must be very careful. Every minute, every breath of us is counted. There is malaika counting your breathing. There is malaika counting whatever you are doing, whatever your eyes doing, whatever your ears doing, whatever your tongue doing, whatever your hands doing, whatever every cell of your body is doing. And then Allah Almighty doesn't need, He's not in need to question you. Allah Almighty saying in the Holy Quran, يَوْمَ نَخْتِمُ عَلَىٰ أَفْوَاهِهِمْ, when I will shut up their mouths, and I make every cell, every organs, the eyes to speak, the ears to witness them, the tongue to witness them, the hands to witness them, the feet to witness them, every cell of their body to witness them. No need for their tongue to answer my question in the day of judgment, but every part of their body will be, has a tongue to talk and to witness they were very bad and disobeying Allah Almighty and obeying their desires and shaitan. And everyone now, if he's praying or fasting or worshipping or doing anything good, but this goodness is, you are doing it by this physical body, by your body. You cannot do it without this physical body, but this body of us now is well dressed by the satanic world, because we are obeying shaitan in every minute of our life, and also with our egos, the egos of us which always ordering us to do things against Allah Almighty and Rasulullah. Don't survive Sunnah of Rasulullah. How you want to walk in between people with a beard, with a turban, with a cap? How you dare to dress like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? You are crazy. What people will say about you? And so all the teaching of Rasulullah, all the Sunnah of Rasulullah, no more anyone to fulfill it, and they will be finishing Rasulullah and killing Rasulullah by killing his Sunnah at that time. And Rasulullah says this to the Sahaba, is going to come a time where the one who is surviving my Sunnah will be rewarded by Allah Almighty for every Sunnah by 100 shaheed, good tidings of 100 shaheed. You will do your best to be shaheed in the battles, in the fightings, but only few of us get this honor granted from Allah Almighty. at that time, the end of time, if every time you make using siwak for the prayers, for reciting Holy Quran, for ablution, you will have 100 shaheed. Not for one time, but every time you are using siwak. Every time, however, this ring in your hand as a sunnah of Rasulullah, you are putting in your finger in the right hand as a sunnah of Rasulullah. In every moment, Allah blessing you by 100 shaheed. If you are putting a turban in the prayer, this Allah saying, on every round of it, I will give you good tidings of as a Siddiq, not only as a shaheed, plus 100 shaheed, but as a Siddiq. And in between all Sahaba, only Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq was dressed by Siddiq. And everyone who put a turban, for every round he will have Siddiq. If it is 100 round, 100 good tidings of Siddiq in every prayer will be coming over you. Third, even you are presenting all this worshipping by your ego and poisoned by your egos and the satanic word in you. And their prayer, my Sahaba, is not like our prayers. When they start their prayers, quickly the shaitan and his all army and officers will come to attack this jama'ah, this crowd whom they are praying, and just saying Allahu Akbar, he opened for them the video clip of what everyone wants, what happened with him in the past or nowadays or after the prayer, what to do. As if he is going to own the earth if he finished quickly the prayer. But when he finished the prayer, he will see nothing going from whatever he was thinking, but only these thoughts make him not to be concentrating on Allah Almighty and worshipping on Allah Almighty. Instead to make sujood for Allah Almighty, he will make sujood to the thoughts coming to him. Instead to ruku' to Allah Almighty will come thoughts, the ruku' go to it. And like this, the prayers will be very worse, that if one of you now pray like this, Allah refusing your prayer and flapping your faces, and their prayer is going to be like this, so worse that never Allah Almighty will be accepted by him. And they think that they are praying, but they are doing big mistake, big sin, because they are insulting Allah Almighty. They are rude with Allah Almighty in their prayers, and they are quickly want to finish it and to give salam. This for the good one who prayed. But the majority, no one is going to pray even the 5 prayers. And even though at the end of the prayer, 4 raka'at or 3 raka'at, they will forget how many raka'at they did. And so what to do, because they were not available in the prayer, all of them following their shaitan and their thoughts, going to their business, to their work, thinking in their what to do after the prayer or what happened with them before the prayer. Like this until they will be missing how many rak'at they are doing with their imam, and then they will make 2 sujood of sahu after giving the salam, that we missed the prayer of Allah Almighty. They make 2 rak'at of sujood, thinking that as if it is something good for them. But all this, Allah is calculating, Allah is accounting, Allah is seeing. He is the one seeing everyone. He is the one with everyone. He is all in all. And all people, they are under the eyes of Allah Almighty and the power of Allah Almighty. And Allah Almighty saying, I am closer to every one of you, much more than his soul in between his shoulder. And if the one not loving Rasulullah more than himself, his families, his money, his soul, his self, never will be reaching to be blessed by Iman from Allah Almighty. And we say we are mu'min. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said in the hadith clearly, no Iman will be blessed, given to anyone if I am not beloved to him, then his families, then his father and mother, then his children, then his money, then his soul, then his self in between his shoulder. No Iman will be given. لا إيمان لمن لم أكن أحب إليه من ماله وبنيه ووالديه ونفسه التي بين جنبيه ويسبح الرعد بحمده والملائكة من خيفته سبحان قدوس ربنا رب الملائكة. And for this Allah Almighty saying, Rasulullah, no iman will be given. See yourself how much you love Rasulullah, much more than yourself, much more than your money, much more than your families. If like this, you are very good. You will be blessed by iman. But if you are not like this, no iman. Until Rasulullah, we must be the beloved to you than even yourself, your money, and your life. And for this, Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, the first to announce, Ya Rasulullah, you are the most beloved to me than all my families, all my monies, and even myself between my shoulders. And he was dressing no more with clothes, but he made his jubbah from the leaves of a tree, of palm tree. From these leaves, sewing them to be only covering his body, and bring everything and give it to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He told him, what you left your family, Ya Siddiq? Ya Abu Bakr, he say, I left for them Allah wa Rasulullah. They will take care of them. And Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, one was asked by Rasulullah, how about you, Ya Umar? He said, Wallah, Ya Rasulullah, you are most beloved to me than all my families, my wives, my money, but not I love myself much more than you. Then he told them, no complete iman for you, Ya Umar. You are not dressed by a complete iman. Then Sayyidina Umar, by saying Rasulullah, so completing him, dressing him by the lights coming from the eyes of Rasulullah to be completed, Sayyidina Umar, and then quickly was saying, for Allah, you are beloved to me than myself and my soul between my shoulders even, Ya Rasulullah. Now you have a complete iman. Now you are dressed by iman, Ya Umar. And they used to be the Khalifs of Rasulullah, the Sahaba of Rasulullah. How about us nowadays? And everyone claims that he is a very big mu'min. Well, mu'min nothing. He say, Iman, long ago this finished, this rank of me. Muslim, mu'min, muhsin, all finished. Now I am big awliya, I am big saint, I am big friend. Now I have visions, I have opening, I am seeing what you are seeing. Your donkey you are seeing. Your donkeys, your imagination, your shaitan you are seeing only. You are seeing nothing except imagination and illusions. The one who accepts what I am saying, this coming from station of Maulana, most welcome, and the one who doesn't accept also most welcome as he like. Everyone, Allah giving him a special mind to think, and he will think according to what he can tolerate, and things he is not able to tolerate, he will refuse and reject. And for this, because we are rejecting the teaching and Sharia of Rasulullah, we are now, as you are seeing, that all the Muslim world under the feet of the non-believers, and like slaves to them, and like children of Israel, when Fir'aun made them slaves to him, and we are slaves now to the non-believer countries. All the Muslim world, they are under the feet of non-Muslims countries, and they taking all whatever, giving good tidings to them. They are these non-believer countries taking and making them in slavery to them, and to be in need for them until the appearance of Sayyidina al-Mahdi alayhi salam. And this is going to come soon. Not so far, only the age now remaining 50 years of this nation, and all the other signs will be appearing one after the other. So be careful, be careful, be careful. Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying in the hadith, oh boy, one of the Sahaba, he was yet a boy. He told him, oh boy, احفظ الله يحفظك. Keep Allah Almighty with you, Allah will keep you with Him. احفظ الله يحفظك. وأتبع السيئة الحسنة. And follow quickly the badness, the sin, the mistake, by a goodness. Allah will erase it for you. And always purify your heart. No one to enter it except Allah Almighty, because the heart is the house of Allah Almighty. Don't make anything to enter your house neither the love of this life, of families, or money, or Satan, or shaitan, or anything to enter your heart, or only make your heart to be in it the love of Allah Almighty and Allah Almighty and only Allah Almighty. Then Allah will protect you and keep. But if you don't protect Allah, you don't keep Allah Almighty with you, you don't watch Allah Almighty with you all the time, then Allah saying, I am the one who is missing my zikrullah, the one who is missing me, the one who is not remembering me, the one who is not repenting all the time to me. Even awliya, even ordinary people, but not before awliya, because how they awliya and to forget Allah Almighty. But for the common people like us, even murids, senior murids, or ordinary murids, or lovers, or starting, anyone who will not keep Allah Almighty, remember Allah Almighty all the time, Allah what's saying in the Holy Quran, Nasullah fanasiyahum. They forget Allah Almighty, not remembering Allah Almighty, forgetting Him, Allah also is forgetting them. What not forgetting them mean He is not to forget them, He is giving them rizqi, prosperity, everything, but Allah Almighty will not open for them the ways leading to Allah Almighty. As He said, وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. For the one who make their best to progress and to remember me and to keep me and not to forget me, neither 1 second in their life, I will open for them my subul, my ways leading to Allah Almighty and to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This holy ayat of the Holy Quran. And for this, the advice before I am leaving tonight is always to remember Allah Almighty, to keep Allah Almighty with you, to keep Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with you, to keep the Sunnah of Rasulullah, to keep the teaching of Rasulullah, to keep Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Uthman, Sayyidina Ali, and everyone what have from his good attributes of generosity, of courage, of busy with zikrullah, salatu wa salam on Rasulullah, busy with Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Never they were busy in their works or their business, but their work and business was all in their hand, not important, only to earn to donate what they earn to us, to Allah Almighty and Rasulullah, and their heart and all their emotion and their feeling and spirituality and even the feels their self. No more they have egos but self. They were busy with Allah Almighty, zikrullah, salat wa salam on Rasulullah. Until Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab one day he told, Ya Rasulullah, I am specializing 10% of my daily zikrullah and practicing for salat wa salam on you. He said, very good, Ya Umar, but if you increase it, will be much more better. Then next day he came, I make 20% and 80% for Allah Almighty. Very good. Ya Umar, but if you increase it, it will be better. Next day he came, third day, I make it now 40% salat wa salam on you, Ya Rasulullah, and 60% zikrullah and reciting Holy Quran and busy with Allah Almighty. Very good, Ya Umar, but if you increase it, it will be much more better for you, Ya Umar. Then the fourth day, fifth day coming, I make it 70% salat wa salam, busy all 24 hours by salat wa salam on you, and 30% to do the what I am ordered to do from reciting Holy Quran and zikrullah, plus the prayers. He said, very good, and if you very good 70%, very good from you, Ya Umar, but if you increase it, it will be much more better for you. Then Sayyidina Umar, after several days thinking, he said, Ya Rasulullah, finish. I am going to be only busy by salat wa salam on you. Now you win, Ya Umar, because you have my shafa'ah, and only my shafa'ah will save you. And all your worshipping, Allah will not look at it. He will look at me, day of judgment. I am the Imam of all. I am the Lord of children of Adam alayhi salam. If I will tell, oh Allah Almighty, I am accepting this one, making shafa'ah for him, without a questioning or looking to all his worshipping, Allah will send him to Jannah, to paradises. And like this, Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu wa karramallahu wajhah, till now he is activating in between us. He was always with Maulana Shaykh Nazim all the time, Grand Shaykh all the time, and also from time to time he is coming, and now in this meeting he was the one to start this talk to all of you, blessing you, salam from him, and to tell you that all of you under his eyes, and all the murids of Maulana Shaykh Nazim who well spread, and they are in one crowd, because they are under the hand of Allah Almighty, because Allah Almighty saying, my almighty hand over any jama'ah. They crowded themselves on love of Allah Almighty, love of Rasulullah, love of awliyaullah and Ahlul Bayt, and they are busy by zikrullah Azza wa Jal and salat wa salam on Rasulullah. And so he is taking care after this prayer morning in Sayyidina Osman Waliullah. He was given this good tidings that don't worry about them. I am going to look after all of them. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, all the murids, and all whom rest real love in their heart to Maulana Shaykh Nazim and all Grand Shaykh and Ahlul Bayt Sahaba and to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to Allah Almighty. Even they are forgetting them, I am going to make them to wake up all the time and to be remembering Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and awliyaullah, and as much as they can to survive Sunnah of Rasulullah. Then I was happy a little bit that this Jama'ah will not be splitted of Maulana Shaykh Nazim also in this country like other countries, but it will remain inshallah well connected with each other, not everyone to make a group of 20, 30 and to be curving, taking an exit from the main road, taking all to Allah Almighty, because this crowd in the main road whom following and making bay'ah with Maulana Shaykh Nazim, they are under the hand of Allah Almighty, hand of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the hand of Sayyidina Shaykh al-Naqshband. But everyone who wants to split and make his own crowd and take an exit from this road, not to be with the crowd, he will be no more under the hand of Allah Almighty. Would the shaitan will take him and all his people, and he will see after a while, several months, several years, everyone is totally ruined and running away even from him, and he will lose himself. And for this, be very careful. Sayyidina Ali promised that he will take care for all of you, for all of us, even for me, that he will be always making us in the right way of Allah Almighty and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and awliyaullah and all grand sheikhs. And be careful that we are in the end of the time which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, the one who is carrying now his Islam, carrying the religion. He didn't say Iman. We are very far away from Iman. I told you how Iman will be. The first step in Iman to see clearly, as we are seeing now each other, the spirituality of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to be appearing in between us. As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Sayyidina Rasulullah. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا حبيبنا يا حبيب الله. ألف الصلاة والسلام عليك يا من أرسله الله تعالى رحمة الله. So ya Sayyidi ya Rasulullah. Until like this, the one will see the spirituality of Rasulullah. This is the first step on Iman. Then you are blessed by Iman. Now we are only lovers, blessed by Islam. Yes, we say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. But there is a long way to reach Iman. Don't say he is saying something rubbish, but this is the reality I am telling you. And what have in your mind knowledge or what given to you is the rubbish. And what I am telling you now is the reality. And so everyone who will be keeping Allah Almighty, Rasulullah, and Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, and always saying Astaghfirullah, Allah will never punish him. Allah will protect him. Even atomic bomb coming over him, Allah make malaika to bring air from Jannah to breathe instead of this wind or air of the atomic bomb. And like this, Allah will protect everyone who is not forgetting Allah Almighty. Allah will not forgetting him. Who is the one not forgetting Allah Almighty? Who is the one who is blessed that he is not the one forgetting Allah Almighty and is remembering all the time of Allah Almighty? Who is the one? I will tell you also. Allah what is saying in the Holy Quran, not from my pocket, this station of Maulana opening to you, especially Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, karramallahu wajhah, coming to you, whom he is dressed to be always remembering Allah Almighty and not forgetting Allah Almighty, until you will be reaching the rank, the maqam of the mother of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, Sayyidina Maryam, what she said. Allah saying in the Holy Quran, فَحَمَلَتُهُ فَانْتَبَذَتْ بِهِ مَكَانًا قَصِيًّا فَأَجَاءَهَا الْمَخَاضُ إِلَى جِذْعِ النَّخْلَةِ قَالَتْ يَا لَيْتَنِي كُنْتُ نَسْيًا مَنْسِيًّا. What is the meaning, Shahajat Alim, of نَسْيًا مَنْسِيًّا?
I may forgotten by the people. Forgotten by.
And until you reach to be totally forgotten from yourself and from people, then there Allah will dress you to be not forgotten from Him. Because you reach to be totally ruined. It's built up between you and people, and you now built up in your heart the ruin between you and Allah Almighty. So you are now forgotten from people, and Allah Almighty only is the one remembering you and rebuilding your heart. Because no one can purify the one, no one can sanctify the one, no one can clean the one, no one can perfect your ego or yourself, only Allah Almighty. It is not something in your hand. Whatever you will do, you cannot perfect yourself or purify yourself or your ego, only Allah Almighty. And this Allah Almighty saying in the Holy Quran, teaching Rasulullah through the ayat of the Holy Quran, all the Sahaba and the whole nation, for the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, don't think in your hand this, it is in the hand of Allah Almighty. He is the owner of yourself. Who is the owner of your ego? You or Allah Almighty? Allah Almighty created, and He is on your physical body, your spiritual body, your every organs of you, every cell of you, and even your spirituality, even your ego, even yourself, all owned by Allah Almighty. And He is the only one can purify and perfect it and make it godly self and Muhammadi self, instead to be satanic ego. What Allah say? لولا فضل الله ورحمته ما زكى منكم من أحد أبدا ولكن الله يزكي من يشاء. If it's not لولا فضل الله, the good tidings and blessing of Allah Almighty of Allah Almighty over you. لولا فضل الله عليكم ورحمته mean sealed of prophet. He is the mercy of Allah Almighty. If it's not Rasulullah in between you and Rasulullah, he is the one taking care of his nation and making shafa'ah for everyone, and not the good tidings of blessing of Allah Almighty, no one able to purify and perfect himself, because only Allah Almighty, He is the one to perfect you and to complete you and perfect yourself and ego, to take it from satanic ego to be a Muhammadi self or godly self to be dressed to you. لولا فضل الله عليكم ورحمته ما زكى منكم من أحد أبدا ولكن الله Almighty يزكي من يشاء. He wants, who choose, Allah will perfect him and purify him and perfect his ego, his self, to be a godly self, a Muhammadi self, to be راضية مرضية مطمئنة, to be well dressed by Allah Almighty and the lights of Allah Almighty. Then this physical body will be under the control of the self. Then the self will be under the control of the soul, and the soul will be under the control of the almighty hand of Allah Almighty. And for this the Imam of the Naqshbandi way, Sayyidina Shah al-Naqshband, Muhammad al-Waisi al-Bukhari, قدس الله سره وعلى الله تعالى درجاته دائما وأمدنا بمدده, what he said, طريقتنا الصحبة والخير في الجمعية. Our tariqah is Suhbah, because in Suhbah everyone can see the sickness, the spiritual sickness in himself, in the mirror of whom he is representing Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or a successor or inheritance, or representing the one who is inheriting the secret of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He will be like a mirror, because Rasulullah, he says, mu'min to mu'min, like mirror to each other. Everyone can see himself in his brother in Iman, because he will be like a mirror, reflecting in him what you have, spiritual sickness, what you have, all means of miseries and misfortunes, or what coming bala over you, and spiritual sickness, only you can see it by the Suhbah. And for this he make it a Suhbah like Rasulullah. He choose Suhbah with his Sahaba, and they call Sahaba by their Suhbah to Rasulullah. He didn't say teaching or advising, but he say Suhbah. Rasulullah say, I'm making Suhbah with my Sahaba, because Sahaba can show everyone as friendly and familiarity what he has wrong, what he has mistakes, what he has spiritual sickness, and will give him the cureness for every sickness. And I did it, I printed it. Ajazat Khalif of Maulana, Deputy of Maulana, he had these, all the practicing, and every practicing for what it is a remedy and the cure for every spiritual sickness in every one of us. And like this, Sayyidina Shah al-Naqshband, he said that every ones whom in my way, all doors open for them to enter, but no door to go out from my way. All will be closed. And they will be always, whenever they are meeting this crowd, whom following and they entering in my way, today of Yawm al-Qiyamah, from time of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, till time of day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, every time they crowd themselves on Suhbah, or in Khatmul Khaja Khan and Zikrullah, Allah Almighty blessing and good tidings to Rasulullah, that they will be under my almighty hand. Yadullahi ala al-jama'ah, Yadullahi ma'al jama'ah. And Rasulullah saying also, as Allah Almighty blessing them to be under his hand, I am also blessing them to be under my hand also, under the hand of Rasulullah, the Shafa'ah of Rasulullah. And then Sayyidina Shah al-Naqshband, he said to all grand sheikhs, from starting Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu arda, till day of judgment, all of them to be making this crowd under their hands, and nowadays to be under the hand of also one of the big imams of the Sahaba of Rasulullah, Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu arda, also now sharing every crowd of all awliyaullah, not only Naqshbandi line, but all awliyaullah, whom they are crowding themselves on following awliyaullah, their Shaykh, Dhikrullah, Salat wa Salam on Rasulullah, every crowd meeting on love of Allah Almighty and Rasulullah, the hand of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu to be over them. And like this we are under the hand of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu arda, and under the hand of Sayyidina Shah al-Naqshband, under the hand of Rasulullah, and under the almighty hand of Allah Almighty, without how all these crowd ever and whenever or wherever they crowd, they will be under the hand of Allah Almighty. And for this Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told to the Sahaba, إِذَا رَأَيْتُمْ رِيَاضَ الْجَنَّةِ فَارْتَعُوا. If you saw the gardens of paradises, wherever you saw garden of paradises, irta'u, yani like the horses when they are in gardens or fields in grass, they massage and rub their bodies on this grass, cleaning themselves and playing, making their bodies to be moving and massaging themselves on these grass of these gardens where they are, if they saw such a thing, they will not only standing on their legs, but they will make their bodies to be massaging and rubbing on this grass. Like this means the irtaw. And Rasulullah telling the Sahaba, if you saw the gardens of paradises, irta'u, take your time to be totally massaging, rubbing yourself and massaging yourself in these gardens of paradise. They say, Ya Rasulullah, how we can find gardens of paradises in this earth, in this planet, in this globe, in this life? Because you said, and Allah saying, paradises and Jannah only in Akhirah, in heaven, not here in this earth. He say, Naam ya Sahabati, yes, ya Sahaba, as you are saying, but Allah making every crowded themselves on zikrullah, love of Allah Almighty and love of Rasulullah, busy by zikrullah, is the gardens of paradise in this earth. Whenever you saw such a crowd, enter in between them, because they are well touched by the wings of the malaika, and the malaika circle to the throne of Allah Almighty, blessing them by all good tidings from Allah Almighty, blessing, lights and shafa of Rasulullah, and they will be continuously forever continuing their zikr. When we finish the Suhbah of the zikr now, for example, finish for us, but these malaika continuing till forever, and all will be written on your books in the divine presence of Allah Almighty. May Allah forgive us and mercy us and bless us by to be always remembering Allah Almighty, keeping Allah Almighty, keeping Rasulullah and Awliyaullah and all Grand Shaykh and Maulana Shaykh, and to be in the right way all the time, and to be busy by zikrullah, busy by salat wa salam on Rasulullah, to be busy also by all whom they are lovers and like to be following the line of Rasulullah and the Sunnah of Rasulullah, and to be survivor of the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and surviving the holy teaching of the Holy Quran of Allah Almighty, not to make the Holy Quran to be ignored or a ruin in between our hands, but to be always built up in our hearts and rest the secrets of the Quran and the Holy Quran secrets enlighten our hearts all the time. Allah, 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 Aziz, Allah, 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 Kareem, Allah, 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 Subhanallah, Allah, Allah, Subhanaka, Subhanaka, and we are the weakest servant, weakest creation of you. O Allah Almighty, bless us by forgiveness and mercies, bless us by sincerity and love, bless us by humbleness, Ya Rabbana, Ya Allah, bless us by always remembering you, loving you, and by sincerity and shafa and mercies and forgiveness of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and always to be loving Rasulullah, surviving his sunnah, remembering Rasulullah, and blessing salat wa salam to Rasulullah. Make us always to be remembering the Ahlul Bayt Rasulullah and the Sahaba of Rasulullah, and Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Sayyidina Ali Radwanullah, and Sayyidina Uthman, and all Sahaba, and all their successors, and all Grand Shaykhs, and all Awliyaullah, till the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah. And thus us by be busy, surviving their teaching, doing according to their teaching, following their line, crowding each other in one crowd under the hand of Allah Almighty and Rasulullah, and the hand of Sayyidina Shah al-Naqshband in their hands, busy by zikrullah Azza wa Jal, by Khatmul Khajatan, by salat wa salam on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. O Allah Almighty, don't make us to forget you, to forget Rasulullah, to forget Awliyaullah. Make us not to forget the Holy Quran, the Sunnah of Rasulullah. Make us not to be splitting from the right way, from the crowd which chosen by you, Allah Almighty. but make us to be confirmed in Islam, confirmed in Iman, confirmed in Ihsan, confirmed in the Naqshbandi way and all Sufi ways, and to be under the leadership of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and Sayyidina Ali radwanullah alayhim, leadership of Rasulullah, our beloved Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and all his successors to the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, and seed of Awliya, and Sayyidina Shah al-Naqshband, and Sultan of Awliya Maulana Shaykh Nazim, and all Grand Shaykhs, and all Awliya, and nowadays who is continuing this line of Awliya of Maulana Shaykh Nazim, Shaykh Muhammad Adil, till the appearance of Sayyidina al-Mahdi, till Sayyidina Isa, till the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah. Keep us with all this crowd of Awliya, whom they are always under your eyes, to be under your eyes, Ya Allah, under the eyes of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, under the eyes of Ahlul Bayt al-Nabi, Sahabati Rasulillah, and all Awliyaullah Azza wa Jal, and all chosen by Allah Almighty, and all prophets, and to be always repenting and asking forgiveness and renewing our Islam Iman by saying Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. استغفر الله العظيم الذي لا اله الا هو الحي القيوم واتوب اليه. يا رب توبه، يا رب تبنا واجعلنا الى الله نتوب الى الله. يا رب توبه، يا رب توبه، توبه يا رب، توبه يا رب، توبه يا رب. شكر يا الله، شكر يا رب، شكر يا رب، شكر يا رب. شكر لله عز وجل الى شرف النبي سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وآله وصحبه حضرة أمك عسكري شتايم وصاحب الزمان سيدنا المهدي سيدنا عيسى عليه السلام, and to be sincere followers of them, sincere murids to Grand Shaykh, to Maulana Shaykh Nazim, to Muhammad Adil, to all the Grand Shaykhs, Shaykh al-Naqshband, to all Awliya Allah Azza wa Jal. إلى شرف النبي سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وآله وصحبه حضرة أستاذنا وأستاذنا الصديقين لله تعالى الفاتحة. قال الأذان وحاصل على رسولنا محمد صلوات الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وسلم تسليما كثيرا. عزيز الله، عظيم الله، عزت لك وعظم لك، شفاعة لك يا رسول الله.